Yasujiro Ozu's Tokyo Story and Wim Wenders' Kings of the Road both tell stories where the plot is thin and dialogue is scattered through their films. This might seem like an issue in modern cinematography, but for them, it's like removing distractions. These directors keep their audience's attention with a camera placement and scenes created with intent. In these dramas by Ozu and Wenders, we see how significant of a role framing plays in the atmospheric feel of scenes, which carries extra importance in their style of storytelling, where the relationships between characters and psychological themes are the main focuses of their films. Now let's talk about their filming styles. Ozu's camera placement often sits low and almost never moves. This makes the audience feel like they are in the room observing the characters. It adds to the tension when something serious is being discussed and adds to the joy when something is being celebrated. It makes you feel like part of the conversation. He builds Tokyo Story out of what Philip Lopate refers to as pillow shots, which help transport the audience through scenes by showing landscapes or empty rooms. These shots aren't just transitions, they're containers that hold emotion that is not directly stated in the character's dialogue. These shots allow for the significance of emotions to settle after a character experiencing something profound. Ozu also utilizes scenes where insignificant activity occurs to focus on the significance of a previous event. For example, watch how the oldest son, Koichi, reacts once a telegram is received announcing his mother's passing. Notice how the silence adds so much to the gravity of the situation. Koichi clearly doesn't know what to do with himself. Wim Wenders is a German director who took inspiration from Ozu's filming style. He appreciates how stillness makes the audience contemplate film's occurrences, rather than quickly moving to the next scene to keep the audience entertained. Wenders is careful about framing in Kings of the Road. He makes sure to keep the settings vast, as the two men are constantly traveling and dealing with loneliness. At the same time, he boxes them in to add the effect of feeling stuck. He also utilizes doorways and windows similar to Ozu, naturally creating a frame within the camera frame. How does this affect the relationships between the characters? Tokyo Story is constructed around the relationships between an elderly couple and their relationships with their grown children. Almost everyone in the family is either too busy or disappointed to even have them around. Dennis Konchak notes how Ozu makes use of this consistent pattern, where he draws out the sensation of emptiness. Each scene contains dialogue between some members of the family, usually leading to the parents' dissatisfaction, then a distant shot of the surrounding setting or empty rooms and hallways. While watching the film, I slowly started to understand that the children are too busy with their lives, and I began to feel the parents' disappointment. The beginning of Kings of the Road contains very little dialogue. The two men, Bruno and Robert, become friends without speaking to each other at all. Instead, Wenders creates this crazy scenario where Robert drives his car full speed into a lake. Bruno watches this happen and stands at the shore where Robert slowly makes his way back, with his clothes and belongings drenched. They can't do anything but laugh, and the kinship between them is immediately felt. The absurdity of the situation through Bruno's eyes is felt by the audience as well. I found myself chuckling with the pair and was instantly hooked on this filming style and how it controls the atmosphere of the film. Both films also use techniques like the full face shot and reverse shots. These angles help the audience focus on emotions in the characters' faces as they're speaking their thoughts. In addition, the combination of these choices transport the viewer into the character's position. It feels like you are being spoken to directly and listening to what they have to say. Watch how the eye contact between husband and wife displays pure understanding between a couple who has lived many years together. Meanwhile, the lack of eye contact from Robert in this scene gives Bruno a different sense of understanding. which again is observed in his facial expressions.
Was ist denn die nächste größere Stadt? Komm durch Wolfsburg.
Common themes include psychology of the human mind and changes that happen in society. Both films serve as a lesson on acceptance. The understandings that the characters come to at the end of each of the films are not dramatic. The films end calmly, and the viewers are given the sensation of sitting with an uncomfortable thought and coming to terms with it. In Tokyo Story, Shukichi and his wife Tomi must eventually come to terms with their children's differences, and the parents learn to be more content with their children's lives. They accept what life has offered them and understand that they should be content. On the contrary, the two men in Kings of the Road come to terms with the fact that they fear change. They understand through their time spent with each other that they must accept the past for what it was, in order to make changes that will help them fulfill the life they desire. Another common theme is about societal shifts. In Tokyo Story, the grown children of Shukichi and Tomi represent a modernized, individualistic ideal in post-war Japan. Ozu frames this change in tradition as something that kind of goes unnoticed. It has become the new norm. In Kings of the Road, there is also a societal shift taking place in post-war Germany. In this case, it is more low-key and revolves around the deterioration of the cinemas Bruno travels to for work, as the movie industry has mostly been abandoned. Both films depict how society evolves and begins to leave certain things in the past. To conclude, Ozu once said that he wanted his films to explain nothing but show everything. Wenders, discovering Ozu's art, used the same trust and stillness to frame his own concept of fading culture. While one follows a father accepting his children's world has left him and his wife behind, the other follows a sense of fleeting culture disappearing before our eyes. Neither film resolves this loss, but instead finds comfort in acceptance.